Hey everyone, today I have a very special topic that is very close to my heart. It will be about astrology and Sailor Moon and these awesome sleeves. No, it's not going to be about the sleeves, just Sailor Moon, but I love these sleeves. And fittingly for the video, I put on my moon cycle necklace. In today's video, I want to talk about astrology. And if you know anything about astrology, you know that it's about much more than just the 12 zodiac signs that we know. It's also about planetary meanings. It's about the meanings of certain constellations and just the energies of everything in the universe and the celestial bodies. Now, Sailor Moon is about a group of girls saving the world, basically. But if you know anything about Sailor Moon, you also know that it's about more than just a few girls transforming into beautiful warriors and saving the world. It has a very deep, symbolistic underbelly, I'll just say, that relates to all sorts of astrological theories and spiritual theories and philosophies. As always, there's an index below in the description box, so you can just jump to whatever sailor warrior or whatever planet you want to hear about. My goal is to show you how the Sailor Moon characters embody the archetypes and the characteristics and energies that are behind these celestial bodies and planets. So let's jump right in with the most obvious one, Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon is Bunny in the anime and the manga, and she is... Let's talk about the moon first so we can kind of see where this ties in. The moon has a very mystical, surreal energy to it. In symbolism, it can stand for our psyche, our mind, our deepest desires. It's sort of related to dreams and anything that is apart from the physical world in a way. And of course, full moons also have a very great effect, and any moon phase has a great effect on animals, the oceans, humans. We become restless, sleepless. So the moon is one of the celestial bodies that has the biggest effect on us and the biggest noticeable effect to a lot of us. Now, if you hear words like mysterious or surreal or the unknown, you don't exactly think of Bunny, who is Sailor Moon. But if you look more closely, you see that she embodies a lot of this energy. Bunny sleeps a lot. She sleeps in school, she sleeps for too long and misses school, she sleeps after school. She's a very dreamy personality, and in addition to that, she has this disconnect from reality. She's super clumsy, which is one of the signs of her not quite relating to the physical world around her, but she's much more connected to her own dream world. She daydreams as well. And this is an energy that's very much in alignment with what the moon means in all of its mysteriousness and its removed surrealism. The moon is also in many cultures considered a maternal symbol. And while at first Bunny doesn't quite embody this archetype of the nurturing mother, it is true that she's the leader of the group, and later, especially when Chibiusa comes up and she learns of Princess Serenity, she discovers this role of motherhood more and becomes more in alignment with what her destiny and her purpose in life are. Not to mention that her whole journey is kind of a surreal, dreamlike experience of finding into the depths of herself. She finds out about her lineage and how she relates to the universe as a whole. And she learns about the moon kingdom that she was a part of. And all of this is through this weird journey of destroying demons and talking to speaking cats and all of these surreal happenings that make up her journey to a greater understanding of who she is, basically. And this is very much in alignment with what the moon stands for, and that energy of exploring your inner depths and your inner psyche in order to understand yourself and the world around you and your relation to it better. Now let's move on to Sailor Mercury, or Amy as she is called in the series. She is a very technology-focused, detail-oriented mind, and this is much in alignment with Mercury, because Mercury is about order, it's about communication, it's about structure, which is also why it embodies the sign of Virgo, among other signs. The stereotype is that they are very organized, very straightforward, very in the nitty-gritty of everything, trying to get every detail right, perfectionists, basically. And this, if you know anything about the series, you know that Amy is exactly an embodiment of strategic thinking, of logical thinking, communication, kind of bringing everybody into the same boat, planning the strategy, and also using her technology in order to make the most efficient plan and the most detailed plan of action for the whole group. So what we see here is that she conquers with knowledge, whereas Bunny is more intuitive and sometimes even clumsy with relation to the physical world. And now we get to one of my favorite characters, which is probably because she relates to my own sign, Aries, Sailor Mars. Sailor Mars, or Ray, as she is called in her human form, is a very aggressive, very energetic, and a very fiery character. She embodies what we see as the energy of Mars, because Mars, you probably also know of the god Mars, the god of war. It relates to aggression, anger, arrogance, but a great deal of strength and fire and willpower, stubbornness that comes with all of this. One characteristic that fits Ray incredibly well is that usually Aries, or also the energies of the Mars, their credo is kind of to start first and finish first. So they are the first ones to go in, the first ones to take action, and they are very, very hungry to just execute a plan rather than plan, which is Amy's deal. And you can tell that Ray is very distraught and sometimes even angered by the way that Bunny sees the world, because Bunny is not all about action. She's about intuition, taking a calm approach, kind of leaned back, you know. Whereas Ray, she has no understanding of what it's like to be a little slower or be more intuitive. She just wants to go in and do everything. And that's why they clash so often, and why Sailor Mars doesn't have a lot of respect for Bunny in some situations. She belittles her, and I think, just like with most Aries, this comes from a place of love, because there's a very big aggression behind the way behind the way Ray wants to control Bunny and wants to show Bunny the way, because she thinks she knows what the right way for Bunny to go is. And it's also very appropriate that her weapon of choice is the bow, because the arrow is the ultimate symbol of focused and directed energy, and that efficiency and quickness with which she acts is embodied by her arrow. Now let's move on to Makoto, or Sailor Jupiter. Jupiter as a planet is related to luck, expansion, long-distance travel also, and it's related to the zodiac sign of Sagittarius. So it has a lot of enthusiastic energy and an enthusiasm for knowledge and for action and for experiences, whether they are physical or spiritual. Now, I think She embodies this quite well because just like Ray, she has a lot of drive and a lot of enthusiastic energy to go around, but she's not quite as aggressive as Ray. What I like about it is that she's related to the Wheel of Fortune in the tarot. The Wheel of Fortune is basically about accepting the cyclical nature of things, that sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not. And I think this is embodied quite well by her attack. She conjures up a thunderbolt and attacks her enemies that way. And I think this has this amazing backdrop of like divine retribution or even just luck, that the thunder strikes where it strikes. And I don't know, for me, it ties in quite well with that energy of luck as well as expansion and enthusiasm. That thunderous strike that comes out of nowhere, is gone within a second, but I don't know, had a sort of fateful energy to it. Now, this is also one of my favorite Sailor Moon character and planet combinations, Venus and Minako, or Sailor Venus. So Venus, as many of you probably know, is embodied by the goddess of Aphrodite and stands for beauty, fertility, outer appearance, love, most of all. And I think it's really amazing that when Sailor Venus is introduced, she is that ideal. Everybody loves her. Everybody looks up to her. She looks perfect. She acts gracefully, even in the direst battle. And she just embodies like this strong, heroic, beautiful character that Bunny unfortunately can never be, or feels like she can't be. So she's basically the mirror image of Bunny in this case, in her whole perfection and how people revere her, while everybody kind of sees Bunny as awkward and clumsy. Everybody sees Minako as very, I don't know, like almost a perfect person. And also, I think it's interesting that in the beginning, you don't quite know her identity. You meet her as Sailor Venus first, and then you learn that she's Minako. And it has this secretness and this seductiveness to it, because everybody is drawn to her, nobody knows who she is, and it fits perfectly with the energy of Venus. Now let's move on to a very exciting pairing, in my opinion. You have Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune. So let's start with Sailor Uranus. The planet Uranus stands for a rebellious energy and sort of upheaval happening, revolution. It's a very strong planet, and it's associated with the zodiac sign of Aquarius, which is generally seen as kind of the visionary who has ideas about the future and a lot of compassion and protective and stabilizing energy, but at the same time, a very disruptive way of going about things and a very renewing energy that comes with everything they do. Now, Sailor Uranus, also called Haruka, has a lot of masculine energy. She's almost a gender fluid character where you don't know whether she's a woman or a man at first. She just brings together the kind of protectiveness and nurturing aspects and takes care of Sailor Neptune in a way. And I feel like that's kind of the revolutionary aspect I see in her, because she embodies that sort of gender fluid and disruptive energy of learning that women aren't always feminine, men aren't always masculine, but that both parties have aspects of each other, you know. And I feel like that's an idea that Sailor Uranus very much embodies. She brings about a certain change and a certain fresh wind into every situation. And this disruptiveness is also shown by her earthquake attack, because a natural disaster is the greatest disruption of the physical world that we can imagine. and it's kind of a symbol for rebellion and for upheaval. Now, Neptune is a planet that is associated with illusion, with sensitivity, creativity, and also psychic ability. Sailor Neptune, also referred to as Michiro, also has precognitive abilities. She can sometimes see the future, which is very much related to that sensitive aspect and that psychic aspect that Neptune and Pisces embody. Now let's move on to two a little bit tougher sailor warriors, tougher to link to the planets. You have Sailor Pluto and Sailor Saturn. The planet Pluto is related to the zodiac sign of Scorpio, and it's related to death and rebirth. And I feel like Sailor Pluto embodies this because she is like the gatekeeper who watches over space and time and even has control over space and time. So I feel like she's kind of a higher instance that has that knowledge of cyclical happenings, that no rebirth can happen without death. And it almost makes her godlike that she has these abilities. Now then, Sailor Saturn, or Hotaru, Saturn as a planet relates to the sign Capricorn and is all about the physical realm, physical success, limitations, discipline. And I feel like the first thing I thought of was that she embodies those physical limitations or the confines of the physical realm because of her body. She is locked in her body that sometimes has weak spells and gets this incredible weakness, so she cannot do anything and kind of loses her power. But she is also a great catalyst for change and gives, I think, Sailor Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto their talismans. And she also destroys the last rest of the moon kingdom, so something new can arise. So she's also kind of an element that's above all of the other sailor warriors and has this structuring and maybe even disciplinary energy to it. So listen, pop culture is full of all of these crazy references to general energies, general archetypes, the planets, tarot cards, zodiac signs, basically anything in the world is sort of connected. The human experience can be embodied by archetypes very well, and these archetypes are all over the stories we watch and read every day. And I'd love to hear what archetypes you can spot in your favorite books, your favorite TV shows. So thank you for watching, have fun looking out for archetypes, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.